xeroc, furion, good karma, and I want to invite up myself. Hey, Roland, do you want to go up stage? Yes, sure. I'm gonna go up stage. Where you want to sit? You want to sit here? Yeah, I'm gonna sit up here. We're gonna do a little development panel, talking about building on Steam. Yeah. Okay. The guy said we really need to talk good into the microphone, not too loud, but a little bit up. Okay, they all work.
Test. So these are my community outreach sunglasses. I'm going to put on my Neutron moderator sunglasses now for the developer panel. So one of the things that we really want to do is, like as I said before, is supporting our developers. And these guys here have built some of the coolest stuff on Steam, as have many of the people in this room. So we want to give these guys an opportunity to talk with you and talk about their projects and where they're going and what they're doing and how the blockchain has benefited them. So do you want to kick it off?
I'm going to kick it off, okay.
Okay.
What I'm talking about?
Yeah, your project.
I have many projects. Some of them are Steam-related, some others are not.
The Steam-related ones are the ones we care about.
That's what I thought. Currently the biggest project that is publicly known is probably Piston, which is a library for developers to easily interface with the Steam blockchain.
It's the best one.
Actually, the reason I wrote it was Valentine, who chatted with me and said, we need a hacker tool. Now we have a hacker tool. Well, yeah, no. It's just basically a command line thing that people can use to kind of do the neat stuff.
It was the first one I used.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. It allows people to write stuff for Steam on Python quite quickly. And in fact, I have an own project that builds on top of Piston, which is called Streamion.com. The idea of it is basically to assist end users, bloggers, and curators to kind of assist them doing their job, for instance, creating or posting blogs and stuff like that by introducing some automation. And that's something I'm still working on. It's currently in a closed beta. Depending on some outside factors, I might open it up for some time for registering accounts without invitation codes, maybe even this year, not sure yet. This is something I'm still looking into and growing into something bigger. Yeah.
So I spoke a little bit quickly when I said it's the best one. Furion, you develop a Python library as well, right?
That's correct. I built Steam Tools, which is a very high-level library that allows you to do blockchain parsing, get the price data from different exchanges, do different actions on accounts and posts. I use it a lot for my different bots. And actually, me and Fabian, we've been talking about merging Piston and Steam Tools together, so then the developers don't have to worry about two different tools. It's just everything
high level,
one
low level, and
one nice package. Yes.
Cool. Good karma we have on stage. You want to talk about what you're working on?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you guys heard about eSteam. That's a mobile application on for Steam blockchain. Yeah. Thanks. Well, that's kind of the main project I'm working on currently. eSteam mobile application for Android and iOS, and
completely open source.
Yeah, it's open source.
Excellent.
You can audit the source code from GitHub, and the plan is there will be kind of a desktop version also. So I guess later on I will talk about this project more in details on my speech. And another project is we worked with Roland and Cass, was a SteemFest mobile application. I hope all of you have it. So it's a good way to keep in track with the program and the map, offline navigation. So yeah, that's kind of the project.
This ties into the wonderful production of this whole thing. Like, well, and you've been great. Like the app blew me away. So it's really wonderful.
Yeah. It's collaboration with the Cass and Roland.
What's so if you guys could build anything on the blockchain, given unlimited time and resources, what would you love to see built on top of Steem?
Where to start?
You can brainstorm. Just throw them out there. What are you personally passionate about?
Ideally, I'd like to see something like an encyclopedia on Steam, where people like provide factual information, not just discussion stuff, but real factual information on a blockchain, censorship resistant. We could technically start with this right now. It just doesn't make a lot of sense with the limitation of these rewards being limited to 30 or 60 days or something. But I have read that you're already thinking about changing that with the code to shared database. That it was technically a technical limitation that that Steam pays out posts only after 30 or 40 days.
One of the things I can confirm there, we talk a lot about all the tunable parameters of the system. Like one thing that has worked, it's been really great, the initially chosen values for things, and as the platform goes forward, we know that some of these things are going to have to change. Tim, who is one of the Steemit staff, as well as a witness, was up here earlier talking about these economic parameters that we've had this open discussion about changing, the post-payout rewards, all of this kind of stuff. We talk about this all the time because we want to make sure that we hit the right values for the community and the things that support the applications and the users and the types of content that are being created.
It is a difficult beast because you have short-term content and long-term content and everything in between.
We're going to do our best to please everyone. We know there are going to be some people that like Neil said earlier on stage, if you're not pissing some people off, you're probably not doing anything new and exciting and interesting. But we try to balance those.
I think what is important to realize is that Steemit.com cannot please everyone, for a fact, because either you are more towards short-term content with voting and like Reddit-style stuff, or you go towards long-term content like Wikipedia. It's like this is kind of cool because you could technically make both worlds happy on the same blockchain, but you cannot deal with those people using the same front end, at least. The platform itself is just a database. It could carry anything, but the front end itself is limited to its kind of user base and to, well, the user experience is basically limiting how people interact with the blockchain.
So one of the things I've talked about before, and to pull this back to the front end conversation just a little bit before I hand it back to you guys, is that we know we can't be all things to all people, but we're going to build a new hybrid thing that incorporates the best elements from a lot of the different social media experiments of the last 15 years. So to that point, like we do want to support more types of content. There are some of us that really love the idea that we have working now, which is long-form content. I am a Twitter-holic. I tweet all the time, and tweets don't really lend, the current interface doesn't really lend itself well to short-form content. But if you notice, like for example, how Facebook does things, depending on the length of your post, it will actually change the font size. So if you make a little one-liner, it'll be bigger. And we actually will want to innovate very heavily in the field of UI to support these sorts of hybrid models because I think it's really important to be able to communicate in the form that is most comfortable to you. Like I Snapchat all the time, and I also send big, long, multi-paragraph emails all the time, and I like being able to do both of those. Do you want to talk a little bit about your experiences with the cross-platform, because eSteem is really cool. It targets Android and iOS.
Yeah.
And you were able to implement that stuff in JavaScript and pull down those libraries. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, when I find out about Steemit.com, and I thought, there was no real mobile applications. So one of the reasons was I was having my phone all the time, but not my PC. So it's really, it's really important now to people have application for every website or every service they use because they have obviously have different. The device have different features, different supporting, notifications are different than the website notifications and things like that, small changes. But my goal was to start building something that people can use from their mobile application, mobile phone and tablets. so that they can be engaged with their followers and keep in touch and directly get notification and respond to the comment and be engaged. So that was kind of my main goal, creating eSteam. So
Absolutely. Yeah, the mobile applications are super important, and it's really great. We hope to see a lot of them. We hope there to be a flourishing number of different interfaces to the Steam blockchain. We want to build, obviously, the one that we think is best, but we want everybody to build their own pet one that scratches their itch, because it benefits everyone in the community. We have this great shared database. So one of the things I want to talk to you about kind of goes back to my other question about if you could put anything in the blockchain, you could. We've had some really interesting discussions recently about this project you've been working on. Is that something we can talk about?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, actually, I'm involved with 2 projects. One is SteamQ, and another one is Steam Sports. I think I could talk about Steam Sports because it's moving really fast, and we're doing a lot of work on it. We've been thinking about what are different ways in which we can use the blockchain, and one of them is prediction markets. So how many of you are familiar with Steam Sports? All right, that's pretty good. So right now, we've started with free games that anybody can participate in. And the point of these games is redistribution of Steam power. So if we just limit ourselves to the content, not so many people are interested in writing. Not many people can write or have something to write about. And even when you do, you sort of need a personal brand or have some support from whales to get noticed and to earn some Steam power. However, with the games, and especially sports, one of the things that sports do is they bring people together. And when they participate in the games, they can earn Steam power for free if they win, right? And it costs them nothing. They just come, they have some fun, and that's how the system works. As of this week, we've actually ran our first real money game in a Trump versus Clinton situation, and that was really fun, and it worked really well. So we're building a prediction markets platform on top of Steam. And the reason why Steam is really awesome for this is, 1, there are no transaction fees, and 2 is because it's a blockchain, it's immutable, we can have provably fair games. So we set up the rules in the post, and then we use transactions to verify that the game was paid out correctly and everything was top-notch. And anybody can do that verification, really.
That's great. One of the things that I really love seeing is the use of the blockchain for things that we haven't thought of, and that's one of the things that is really, really important to me, just personally. We're going to build cool stuff as a company, and you guys are going to build cool stuff, and we want to, there are all sorts of little corner cases, like prediction markets, a really good one. That has nothing to do with the social media stuff but that's excellent, and it's part of our ethos to make sure that we open as many pathways for as much creativity on the platform as possible.
Can I add a little on that? I've been building apps mainly for consuming, doing read requests, so mainly reading from the blockchain, not so much about posting, so it has a less of a security impact because everything is already available, transparent. But coming to that security factor, for example, logging into your mobile app, or maybe if you're going to write something on a third-party site where people can log in and manage their Steam Sports, I think it would be really cool to see some place where something like authorization or some place which anyone can trust, because nowadays people the keys are really important, right? Especially the posting or the active key or the owner.
Keys are everything.
Yeah. Exactly. So it would be really cool to see some kind of a centralized place used to handle these authorizations, which people can really trust.
Absolutely. So we really want to make sure that we balance ease of developer use and ease of end user experience with security of the keys. My background personally, the reason I came to Steemit was to do security work, to make sure that the platform and the operations were as secure and tightened up as possible. And so I've been doing my own personal background. I've been working in the Bitcoin space, doing incident response and security around multi-sig and even single sig, which is even more critical. So that key management is really super duper important to me just on a personal level. And so there's a couple different trade-offs there for different types of management. One of the things we are going to be building an interface for that at some point. It's obviously very important. It's a problem that right now everybody has to individually solve, so we end up passing keys around. We want it to be solved once so that those effects can compound and people don't have to worry about that and worry if they're doing it right. There are a couple different ways of doing it. We understand the pros and cons of them, and there's some trade-offs involved there. One thing that is great about the blockchain already is that you can generate individual posting keys for individual sites and then revoke them. It's likely that we will implement something like that, make the UI around that, make that easier. That's a short-term one. A longer-term one, we would love to see something where sites can come and ask us, say, hey, we want to perform this action on behalf of the user. One of the things we're never going to do is store user keys. So that is going to have to involve the user. You can't have a bot that posts on your behalf when the weather changes, because if your computer's off, it can't ask you to sign with your keys. So we have to sort of balance those security and feature trade-offs.
I'd like to hook into this a little because SteemFest is kind of requiring something that you have not mentioned here. Mm-hmm. So what SteemFest is doing is basically you as a user give SteemFest the permission to vote in your name or post content in your name. Mm-hmm. But we are not taking over your private key. You don't need to send us a private key, and we don't want you to add a public key into your account. So what we do is we use a feature that is also on the blockchain, is that you can actually hand over posting permissions to another account name. So instead of having a private key in your posting role, you have another.
Delegate the authority.
You have your own private key, your own public key in the role, and you have another account name in the role. So if you take a look at our customers that are already at SteemFest, they have their own keys, and they also have the SteemFest account in their posting role. So what I can now do is I can sign transactions with a SteemFest account and still claim I'm you. So and that's another point of you don't need to exchange keys at all. What you could do is you can just give the permission to another person, and then people can see that other person can write content in the name of that other person.
So it's a really good model, but one of the issues with that, and so we want to protect our users as much as we can from the consequences of the harsh real-world realities of crypto, right? And one of the problems that with that model, and we're probably going to do different models for different types of applications. But one of the issues with that model is, let's say there's some sketchy fly-by-night app that gets a bunch of people to delegate authority to them, and then they get hacked. And now we have spam coming from 1,000 different accounts. At 2 in the morning, we want to be able to shut that off, prohibit that, revoke those keys in some way. We don't have solutions for this yet. We'll find them.
The point now here is you cannot revoke keys that other accounts have in their permissions. But if they have an account name in the permission and you own that account, you can, once you identify a hack or a misuse or whatever, you can just change the posting key of that particular account and you lock out the hacker. Done. I thought a lot about how actually to deal with the permissions that users could give me or that I require from users. And for my use case, this is the only one that makes sense and is secure enough. Basically, what you can extend this to something that rotates your posting keys on a regular basis, like once a week or something, that even if something happens and does not get notified by yourself, then you can still rotate it and be sure that whoever hacked the account has no control over it again. And then all the users that have that account in their permission are still safe. Or again, safe.
For posting, that makes sense. We can have a centralized thing.
SteemFest is not going to ask for permissions for the active stuff. That is just something that is on a regulatory basis very, very, very difficult.
Yeah,
not going to happen.
We have to tread carefully along those lines. So.
Yeah.
So that's it's really wonderful. Just to shout out to Dan for separating all those. He's up there, right? Separating all those concerns. Does anybody in the crowd have any questions for these guys up here and their cool projects? Ned.
Oh.
Ned Talks.
Ned Talks. What was it again? Ned Talks?
NetX.
But you're also a tremendous application developer, and some of my favorite apps that have been built on Steam include Steamy or Not, and Steam Radio, and there's a handful of others that you've created as well.
Steam Fighter.
Did you do
Steam
Steam
Finder.
Dollar?
No,
Oh,
Steam
Steam
Dollar.
Fighter,
Steam
yeah.
Dollar is actually Maurice. He's sitting downstairs. I got to do a little promo.
I love
He's
that
doing
one.
the tier thing.
That's okay, cool. That one's great. I love that one.
So which was your favorite to create? And also, what was the inspiration for Steamy or Not?
Steamy or Not, the inspiration about Steamy or Not was basically because, well, we're all building a social network, right? And I think the Zook, or the Mark, or the Zookie, he started with the hot or not site back then. So I thought, let's make a Steamy or Not site. Yeah, and that's what...
Did you drop out of Harvard too, or?
No, maybe now I can pay my entrance fee. No, but talking about the one which I'm most proud of, actually, is the one without any user interface, which is actually Radio Steam. Because it was my first... yes, Mamacita and Kevin Wong are the main curators. It was I didn't do that much coding in Python, and then, I found out about Piston. And yeah, for me it was just it was great for myself to see myself making something like this, because it was mixed together with everything which is illegal. Downloading illegal videos, or legal videos in an illegal way from a certain kind of video website. This is going to be recorded, Michiel?
No, go ahead.
Okay. And then converting them, adding them to my playlist. It was all basically all command line, and the end result is that you can tune into the community curated radio platform through your mobile phone, through the Sonos, or through your iTunes, television. And yeah, for me that was really cool to see it, get created, become alive.
Great, thank you. Anybody else want to ask a question?
Nobody? You have some of the most talented Steam people in the universe right in front of you. Come on.
What sort of features on the back end would you like to see that would make your jobs easier?
Perhaps it would be nice to have an official RPC node cluster that's very reliable and scaled geographically worldwide.
I will give it to you. It's coming.
And more documentation.
Oh yeah, and with more documentation.
How long till somebody gets hit in the head with that thing?
Okay, quick question. What's your estimate to how many Steam developers you think there are in the world right now?
I can only comment on the kind of the website which hosts most of the apps currently being produced by the community, and that's now totaling 100 unique apps, and I think it's made by about 70 unique developers. It's called steamtools.com if you don't know the name. Check it out. There you can find all the apps. So about 70 maybe, but I think more people are working on it.
Yeah, I know for a fact that there are several dozen others that people use. Like, we have bots and we have blockchain scanners, and there are people doing arbitrage and keeping track of prices and things like that, and like stuff that just isn't public. GPU miner. So you're about to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that I know about at least one stealth project that is going to happen. But they plan to do it in Q4 this year, but could be Q1 next year. They are stealth. They had an introduction post, but nothing happened after it. But they are close to being finished, and that's another couple people working on stuff on Steam.
So one of the things that I do, I created this is a little thing that I noticed is kind of valuable. I created a GitHub repo called Hacks under my own just personal account, and whenever I do something that isn't worthy of its own repo, I date it and project name, and I drop it in my hacks directory just as a way of getting all my little odds and ends code out there. And I need to, I'll throw some of my Steam-related scanning and tools and parsers and things like that out there. But yeah, if you guys want to do that too, that's kind of a cool thing to do, because not everything, a little 20-line script is not always deserving of its own whole repo, but I have just all my debris and detritus in one.
I add everything I need into Piston.
Cool. I'm very excited about Python support, Python hacker myself. We've got Tim does a great job with the JavaScript libraries, and Val as well.
And Sigve.
Was that?
Sigve.
Oh, is it? Awesome. Sorry, I missed you. I didn't see it there. Yeah, we want in the future to get to a point where we have really, really good libraries in all the major languages that people want to use. Really good documentation around those libraries. We're right now, everybody's been building stuff, and we want to start a side thread to make sure that developers that come to the platform from day one have great tools. You've done a fantastic job with Piston, and I look forward to you guys, hopefully merging your project together. I'd love to contribute documentation to that if I can. And we've got the JavaScript stuff out there, and if any of you out there want to work on other stuff, I'll happily jump in and document where I can. And we've got design resources and stuff to make sure that we're supporting anybody in any sort of development that wants to build on it. I'd love to see a Go library for Steemit as well.
Hi, I'm Terry Brock, and that's the name also here. But I love Steemit, and I might be like a lot here. I know a little bit about it, have done some. I'm a journalist, a syndicated columnist, and so I really want to write. And also I know a little bit about the technology side. I've done a lot of broadcasting. I work with Skype as their chief enterprise blogger. And I was wondering, is there a way today or tomorrow that a bunch of us could get together and start learning more about Steemit? I mean, even the basics of it. While we're all here, some way to gather and learn about that.
So there are a couple of videos up on our website that go over the absolute bare bones basics. As far as beyond that, please feel free to find me. We've got almost the entire team here, happy to talk and answer questions. We've got technical resources. Our fearless leader Ned is in the back. You can grab him. And yeah, we're happy to. Everybody that has taken the time to travel to SteemFest is absolutely entitled to us to sit down and talk to you. And this is an incredible outpouring of support and dedication to this. People come from far and wide, so please feel free to just grab any of us and strike up a conversation.
Archange.
Look at that. You guys are great.
Okay. You all know, guys, that to develop tools like you did, like I did with SteamSQL, it takes time, and sometimes we expect some return and we don't get it. So I was talking yesterday with Rivered about the project dev, like Project Curie, to support people developing tools around Steemit. What do you think about it?
I think that
and maybe what was your motivation for you to develop tools for Steemit too? Mine was not money, but
well, I think
we all have to eat.
For me personally and for Fabian, we simply wanted to do things, and we had to build these tools anyway. And then at some point we realized, hey, why don't we share this with others, because it's such a waste of time if everybody has to implement everything low level themselves over and over again. So
it's pretty much the same thing that every homebrew software started at. It's a developer sees a need just for his own stuff that he's not. I didn't feel convenient using the CLI wallet, and I'm really a console guy. I don't use the mouse a lot, so I wasn't very happy with the tools that are there. So I wanted to kind of make my own ones, so that I can do whatever I want with the technology that is there, and be limitless with the powers that are given to me using the blockchain. And that's when I started basically writing Piston. It was really meant to be, first of all, a tool for me alone, and then suddenly it turned out to be something that could be worthwhile for others to use as well.
And to your other question, I look forward. This is definitely part of our roadmap, which we will get out there in the future. But I look forward to expanding our bounty program. I think that we have a tremendous amount of talent that is ready and willing to contribute to this platform, and we want to make sure people are compensated for their work. There are different ways of doing that. One is to provide them with the attention economy, and the other is to provide them with money. And the current bounty system is a little bit informal. I want to sort of tighten that up. We will probably look into rewards for specific implementations, specific patches and bug reports. So not just a security bounty, but also like a general bug bounty that encompasses security. I don't know what the time frame is going to be on that, but we absolutely want to make sure that we are availing ourselves of the most talented resources out there and providing a two-way stream to the community of both talent and funds. Last one. No, the live stream needs it.
Okay.
Into the box.
It's
a microphone.
I know.
Oh.
Okay, so I just have a request on something to be fixed on the website. I'm not sure if you guys are the people that I talk to.
Email me.
Okay.
Sneak@steemit.com.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay, one final, super final question then. Yes.
Where are you?
Distance.
Watch out. I'm not insured.
Yeah, so just a quick question. One of the most amazing things about SteemIt is its diversity, and out of all the, ways SteemIt is diverse, multilingual and multicultural is one of the most important things. And it's proof. SteemFest has people from over 30 countries right now. And I was just curious, from your point as a developer, what is your stance on creating, mirrored Steem regional, such as, blockchains and platforms, such as Golos?
So
applying, I understand the complexity of maybe duplicating the tools in order to be adjusted to those teams, and then keeping it outdated because they develop in parallel, and so on.
So we have a great community on the blockchain. We have a growing Chinese language community and growing Korean community. Golos, of course, has taken most of the attention of the Russian-speaking community. But one of the very first things I did, I'm new to SteemIt, the company. One of the very first things I did was make sure that our website UI is translated into, has a framework for translations. We accept pull requests for additional languages. And I want both our own internal organization as well as our community to be as wide-reaching and diverse as possible. And the supporting people that might not have very good English skills is very high on that list for me. Like, I don't want to exclude any community simply because they don't know a specific language. So translations are super important. The other thing, I was talking to someone today about the idea of building better tools, because if you're shown posts in a language that you can't read, those are basically noise to you. So we want to at some point have better tools for specifying the language of a post and specifying the languages that you're able to read, so you can see the content that's most relevant and emotionally important to you. So that's absolutely on our radar. It was the first thing I did, and it's going to continue to inform everything we do, because while we start off with an English language core, there are millions and millions and millions of people that have valuable contributions to this blockchain that don't speak a word of English, and so they are first-class citizens in our book.
So basically, from a developer's point of view, you're encouraging them to build on Steem because you're going to build the site more multilingual and not, building up separate chains and so on.
So really, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on where the communities build. We're not going to dictate what chain communities build on. People are going to go where the people that they care about go. And if that's on the Steem chain, if that's on Golos, if that's on other forks, we're going to support them no matter how they do it. It's just, I think the default, obviously, is just the chain that we have that is growing. But we don't really have we don't have a firm position on that. We default to the chain we have, but like Golos is a perfect example, being like that might be something that happens in the future. But it's another thing on our roadmap to, and I have no idea how long this is going to be, but to give people more control over specific topics and groups and namespaces to work, again, to that signal to noise ratio. Like when you have posts that are in a language you can't read, that's noise to you. And to reduce the display of those is important, but also just to tailor the content. So I think that the language specific, like right now we have tags for languages, and that's great. I think what's going to happen in the future is we're going to have branches within tags and communities for specific language types. But again, that's going to how it ends up playing out is going to be user based. It's not going to be top down.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your question. It's really important. I'm going to defer to Roland before. Right? Do we have time for one more?
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah, as Frank Zappa said, a lot of us are here only for the money, So I'd like to return to to the question of bounties. You mentioned that a lot of effort is going to is about getting more people in more languages. So are there going to be any translation bounties or something like that?
I hope so. I have no idea what it's going to look like yet. I hope to see more bounties. I like the idea of bounties. I like the idea of, here's a dollar amount. Here's a thing. Send us a pull request when these tests pass. Then you get the money. Translations are a good one there. There's a lot of them. Right now, without that structure in place, we welcome all pull requests. If you want to do translation, there are existing translation files in there. Clone the repo and send us a PR. We'd love to have more languages.
Okay, so I mean there's a lots of documentation because there's a lots of developers, for example in Russia, who don't they do read English but not so much and stuff like that.
So as far as developer documentation, I think unfortunately we're going to be English only for the foreseeable future. But I mean, given enough time and resources, I would love to branch out there too. I just don't know if we're going to be able to do it soon.
Okay. And another thing about the bounties, a lot of people, 3 projects or 4 projects that I'm part of are asking we're doing this and we'll have a working prototype ready, I don't know, in a month or in a couple of months, and there's bounties for that or not, or how does it work?
So I'm not. The existing bounty program is before my time.
Who ask about the economy part of that stuff? Yeah.
Shoot me an email. The existing bounty program is before my time, but I want to expand on that and formalize it and make it clearer for people who want to get involved. We'll probably have a site specifically dedicated to bounties at some point.
When we can expect that?
What's that?
When we can expect that?
I have no idea.
When are we going to expect that, man? Come on. Man. So, but these bounties, this is the candy bar, right?
It is one of them, yeah.
Yeah, the incentive.
Hey, I think, I don't want to be really rude, but I think I am. Maybe it's good if you guys have a chat or maybe get a room.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, we've got 15